Hilda, a brave Northwind Legion warrior hoping to find her lost father, enters a cursed, mythical city known as Aphis. She uncovers the story of the city's rise and fall, witnessing history in the making, and faces difficult choices that will shape the fate of the entire kingdom. Admittedly, I forgot about this game, but only because it has a name similar to a game that came out earlier this year that I had zero interest in whatsoever, and I got the two confused. I'm glad I got to revisit it, because I remember being impressed with the world they were showing off and the combat on display. Asterigos, Curse of the Stars, comes to the PlayStations, the Xboxes, Epic, and Steam on October 11th. There's also a Steam demo available now. Set during the Edo period of Japan, Kamiwaza stars amateur thief Ebitsu, who aspires to steal from the rich and give to the poor. During his first stint, however, he and his mentor, Inosuke, witnessed their own men take the lives of innocent civilians. Disillusioned by the horrific display of violence, Inosuke advises Ebitsu to escape with the only survivor, a lone girl. The game looks pretty stiff, and the visuals don't really pop, but it looks like that's a design choice. Kamiwaza looks like maybe it's trying to capture the charm of the Tenchu series, but also looks to be embracing the wacky. Kamiwaza, Way of the Thief, comes to PS4, Switch, and Steam on October 11th. A mysterious murder took place in the once peaceful village of Eville. Each day, villagers decide on a suspect and execute it until all evildoers were found. Each night, however, the conspirators gather and decide to murder another innocent villager until they take over the village. You play a random role and have no idea who is on your side. Use your abilities and social skills to find out. I'm intrigued by this game because it looks to be of a better quality than Among Us, while also having more mechanics. Social deduction games haven't really been my thing though. No harm, no foul though, because Eville is coming to the Xboxes, Epic, and Steam on October 11th, and will be coming to Game Pass on day one. Go through the gate and explore procedurally generated levels. Choose the smartest path, fight creatures, and take part in events that will make you stronger, or not. I'm willing to give almost any Slay the Spire-like a shot, and this is no different. Another example of a game I was completely unaware of, but now has my interest dialed way up. One More Gate, a Wakfu legend, comes to Steam on October 11th with a Switch release planned for early 2023. There's also a demo available on Steam now. In LEGO Bricktales, discover an innovative brick-by-brick building mechanic to design puzzle solutions from your own imagination. See your creations brought to life in a beautiful LEGO world where every problem has a constructive resolution. I'm not much of a LEGO toy fan. I'm more of a fan of the brand of humor that the property has adopted with their movies and games. Despite that, Bricktales is more about the building side of LEGO, and it looks like a really unique and fun take on building in video games. Flex your creative muscles when LEGO Bricktales comes to the PlayStations, Switch, the Xboxes, and Steam on October 12th. There's also a Steam demo available now. Timemelters is a strategy adventure game that features a unique game mechanic, time travel, which allows the player to go back in time and fight alongside themselves. You play as Tegan, a witch whose powers were just recently unleashed by an unwelcome guest. Now you must venture forth in a desperate effort to cleanse the countryside from the seeping evil that is corrupting it. I normally don't feature early access games, but I'm playing favorites. I said it. A good friend of mine and a big part of this community is working on this game, and I've already played it. If you're looking for a unique experience I doubt you've ever seen before, look for Timemelters when it comes to early access on October 12th. It's the 80s and Christmas is coming. Vinny, Nick, and Tony are young and their new cable signal descrambler just arrived. That same night, while trying to decrypt a pay-per-view adult channel, they pick up the distress signals of an alien spaceship crash landing in the woods near their town. Things only get weirder as they realize that the towering alien is killing very specific members of their community. More games about the 80s, please. So many amazing references are listed for this game that even with my relative disinterest in point-and-click games, I probably need to reconsider for this bad boy. Unusual Findings comes to Steam on October 3rd and has a demo available now. The fun of hack and slash comes from annihilating countless enemies at once. As a genre where character growth is tied to devastating enemies to obtain new items, the focus was set upon the proposition to gain strength after wiping out enemies during their development. Stirring away from the typical growth system, players will be able to enjoy completing their own unique builds. Reminiscent of the Diablo games, this free-to-play experience will feature cross-play between Steam and mobile users on Android and iOS when it arrives on October 12th. There's a Steam demo available now. Grow your empire as you learn to repair, build, and customize PCs at the next level. Experience deeper simulation, an upgraded career mode, and powerful new customization features. Use realistic parts from over 40 hardware brands to bring your ultimate PC to life. I remember the first iteration of PC Building Simulator being one of my first what the moments as it relates to simulators. Now they're everywhere, and most of them are actually pretty fun. PC Building Simulator 2 is an Epic exclusive coming on October 12th. Create an army and use spells while it fights for you. Mage and Monsters is an active auto battler where you must choose wisely between upgrading the might of your army or increasing the power of your spells. The gameplay may not end up being like this at all, but I get the vibe that this is an army-focused version of a game like Vampire Survivors, with maybe some Plants vs. Zombie upgrade paths. Either way, it seems like a unique entry. Mage and Monsters comes to Steam on October 12th and has a demo available now. The Last Oricru is an action RPG with a strong emphasis on storytelling and player choices. The player awakens in a sci-fi medieval world at a time of war and starts influencing the destiny of the whole nation. It can be played as both a single-player or a co-op experience. Now, I've hummed and hawed over this game since it was first announced. It looks like something that could surprise, or like something that could underwhelm. I can't get a good vibe, but as the days get closer, I find myself a little more intrigued to dive in. The Last Oricru comes to PS5, Series X and S, and Steam on October 13th. Fueled Up is a chaotic couch co-op spaceship recovery game for up to 4 players. You and your crewmates must fuel, fix, and rescue damaged spaceships before the evil space octopus gets its tentacles on them. This looks fun! The idea of dodging wormholes, asteroid showers, and space squids while keeping the engines fueled up, dealing with hull breaches, and extinguishing fires seems hectic as all get out. Doing it with 3 friends yelling at each other in a constant state of panic makes it sound even better. Fueled Up comes to the PS4, Xbox One, and Steam on October 13th. There's also a demo available now on Steam. Lost Eidolons is a tactical turn-based strategy RPG set in a fantasy world called Artemisia. Lead Eden and his comrades through an episodic campaign in their fight to wrest back the Empire. Strategize, plan your attack, and seize victory on a classic isometric grid battlefield with a modern touch. As I've stated before, I'm not the biggest strategy RPG fan out there, so maybe this kind of thing has been done before, but in watching the trailer, this feels like a gritty reboot of Shining Force, complete with attack animations and sequences separate from the isometric field view. I know some folks that might be all in on this one. Lost Eidolons comes to Epic and Steam on October 13th, with console versions coming in the future. Once bustling and full of life, London is now in a dark and dismal state. Unemployment and homelessness are at an all-time high. Ethical boundaries are being stretched to their limit, and corrupt billionaire Kenny Hogan is up to no good. It's up to ragtag band of criminals, Frank, Sally, and Gavin, to put a wrench in Kenny Hogan's plans and bring him to his knees. I'm in love with the look of this game. Attitude and style just ooze out of it, and the trailer convinced me that this is one I'm going to definitely try for myself. Sunday Gold will release on Steam on October 13th, but you can try the free prologue chapter that's available now. You'll meet familiar characters from your childhood, but the reunion isn't likely to be a happy one. The gingerbread men are out for blood. Sleeping Beauty seems to be a couple centuries behind on sleep, and the Little Mermaid looks more like a sea witch than an innocent child of the waves. Oh man, this game looks neat. I love the concept of taking something beloved and comfortable and twisting it into something terrifying, and it looks exactly like that's what the Darkest Tales sets out to do. It comes to the PlayStations, Switch, the Xboxes, Epic, and Steam on October 13th. There are also demos available on both Xbox and Steam right now. Gear up to fight your way through the ranks of an insidious cult. Their wretched minds twisted by the will of an unseen entity, you'll find just as much lead flying back at you as you dish out, so you'll have to run, slide, dodge, and make use of your environment to survive in this old-school inspired shooter. First off, the visuals will either do it for you or they won't. They're nostalgic in their appearance, and it works for some and not for others. The combat does look pretty fast-paced though, and some of the environments, visuals aside, look pretty cool. Cultic's first chapter comes to Steam on October 13th and has a demo available now. In Trifox, you play as our multi-talented hero on a quest to restore his recently invaded and plundered home. Fight your way through swarms of enemies, engage in thrilling boss fights, and overcome exciting environmental challenges as you discover that there is more to your quest than meets the eye. It looks like you can choose one of 3 playstyles in this game. The Mage is ranged and crowd control focused, the Warrior is up close and personal, and the Engineer utilizes structures and gadgets to take out the enemies. If you're looking for a fun, colorful, and cute action platformer, keep your eye on Trifox when it comes to Switch on October 13th. It'll also be on the Xboxes on the 14th and the PlayStations at a later date. In this pure action-adventure game, travel around the 6 new worlds and use objects around you to unlock access to hidden paths and, as is customary in the Asterix and Obelisk series, smash Romans that cross your way. Asterix and Obelisk XXL, the RAM from Hibernia, comes to the PlayStations, Switch, the Xboxes, and Steam on October 13th. A retro microgame collection wrapped in a hilarious narrative of exploration and surprise. You're the caretaker of the Atari Vault, the storehouse of classic Atari games. One night, a dead pixel appears and all heck breaks loose. Classic games begin to warp, mutate, and combine into a series of increasingly crazy challenges. Fight back the pixels and other surprising villains and restore order to the vault. This game is important for 2 reasons. 1, it reminded me that the Atari VCS is a thing. And 2, it's the second game to feature a teddy bear in a key art this week. Neat. Atari Mania comes to the Switch, Epic, Steam, and yes, the Atari VCS on October 13th. Step into the shoes of an 18th century detective and uncover the mystery behind 12 strange deaths spanning 40 years, all somehow connected. This new kind of detective game allows you to think and investigate freely, pick your suspect, deduce the motive, and unmask the awful truth. It's always intriguing when a studio implements something to circumvent expectations. You'd think as a point-and-click adventure game that you'd be doing just that, pointing and clicking. Instead, though, the addition of variable words lets you truly navigate the seas of the investigation in a unique way. The Case of the Golden Idol comes to Steam on October 13th and has a demo available now. Shafted is a micro-mining simulator with an emphasis on letting you quickly build out your colony. Single rounds are fast and short. The alien clients swoop in to extract contract payments. Clear out those clients and call it a day. I know that you're mining supplies, but beyond that, I'm not too certain on what your objective is. Either way though, if you like your Sims fast-paced, Shafted may be worth checking out when it comes to Steam on October 13th. There's also a demo available now. Winter Games 2023 is an exciting sports game where the player can prove his or her athletic abilities in 10 dynamic winter sport disciplines including ski jumping, biathlon, ski cross, skeleton, or Super G. Hunt for records, best times, and trophies. Now, the last time I played a Winter Games collection was when I was a tiny little buddy, and we had a floppy disk of Winter Games for the Commodore 64. It was crazy hard to play. I imagine this will be easier, but the lineup of games doesn't do much for me personally. Winter Games 2023 comes to the PlayStations, Switch, the Xboxes, and Steam on October 13th. Dragon Ball: The Breakers is an online asymmetrical action game in which a team of 7 ordinary citizens tries to survive the Raider, which is a classic Dragon Ball rival such as Cell, Frieza, or Buu, who will hunt them down and evolve during the game into an unstoppable force. Escaping won't be easy. My goal is to really indoctrinate myself into Dragon Ball Z at some point here. I haven't yet, but that doesn't dampen my interest in this game. I never got into games like Dead by Daylight because it always felt a bit too slow. The Breakers, however, looks fast-paced and the focus on the movement is probably the biggest draw for me. Dragon Ball: The Breakers comes to the PlayStations, Switch, the Xboxes, and Steam on October 14th. Hockey is back. In this year's version, cross-platform matchmaking, not cross-generational, is introduced, allowing PS4 and Xbox One players and PS5 and Series X and S players to play against one another in Ultimate Team and World of Chell. Women's hockey also enters the mix in Ultimate Team, but I'm not clear if the female players will be available in any other modes. The NHL series is one that's gotten a little stale over the last couple years. And these are nice improvements, but I guess we'll have to see if they are enough when NHL 23 comes to the PlayStations and the Xboxes on October 14th. Rebuilt and reimagined from the ground up, Nickelodeon Kart Racers returns bigger and better than ever. Featuring a cast of 40 iconic characters, drift, slide, and boost your way to the finish line on tracks inspired by legendary Nickelodeon shows like SpongeBob SquarePants, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and more, with 4-player local multiplayer and up to 12 players online. I hopefully don't need to explain how kart racers work. This one looks to dial up the customization options, and it looks fun. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 Slime Speedway comes to the PlayStations, Switch, the Xboxes, and Steam on October 14th. Take your skills and your swag on the PGA Tour and become the next FedEx Cup champion. Compete against other tour pros with your MyPlayer and establish new rivalries. I love myself some golf games. There isn't much to discuss regarding the latest PGA because ultimately, it's still golf. It does include a course builder, and for some reason Top Golf is included now, but there's just something about seeing Tiger Woods back on the cover again. I don't know. PGA Tour 2K23 comes to the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and Steam on October 14th. Scorn is an atmospheric first-person horror adventure game set in a nightmarish universe of odd forms and somber tapestry. It is designed around the idea of being thrown into the world. Isolated and lost inside this dreamlike world, you will explore different interconnected regions in a non-linear fashion. The unsettling environment is a character itself. Another game that has been on my radar for a long time. Everything is so creepy and gross, and I love it. The countless delays worry me, but on October 14th, we'll finally get to see what Scorn is all about on the Xboxes, Epic, and Steam. Added bonus, it'll be a Game Pass game on day one. After the protostar picks up strange readings from a dying star, Dal-Rael and Gwendala race against time to save their friends, their ship, new alien species, and an entire planetary system before a supernova destroys them all. I'm not a Trekkie, so I can't speak much to Star Trek, but I will quickly use this time to call out Outright Games, the developer. I'm learning that this studio has become pretty prolific in its output of children's games. I've covered 4 or 5 releases in the last 6 months alone. For you parents of small kids out there, maybe look at their catalog for your kiddos. Anyways, Star Trek Prodigy, Supernova, comes to the PlayStations, Switch, Xbox One, and Steam on October 14th. Astrid wakes up in Purgatory and has to make peace with her death. Only problem is, she doesn't remember anything. Point and click your way through adventure-based gameplay mixed with visual novel storytelling and solve the mystery of our heroine's untimely demise. This is a visual novel that combines point and click mechanics, a mature and at times dark story, and hidden unlockable items to keep you busy. Pitstop in Purgatory comes to Steam on October 14th and has a demo available now. The curse of the ancient Trantons family forces young Miss Susan to leave for a deadly journey where she is about to face many inhabitants of the world of the dead, find both friends and enemies, and get answers to the most important questions on who is the true killer of her entire family. There is something very attractive, but at the same time a bit off-putting about the art direction in this game. I like the backgrounds and the environments, but I am not a fan of the character art and animation at all. It was a design choice, clearly, it just didn't pay off for me personally. The game still looks intriguing though. Castle of Secrets comes to Steam on October 14th. The world of Gedonia is a beautiful place with a lot of unexplored areas, and you are just a simple adventurer who leaves their home village in search of a better life. No matter which faction you join, you start to notice strange events that may be bringing something very bad to this world. Gedonia looks like a game that strives to be exactly what it sets out to be. It's not super flashy, the world is pretty but sparse, and the combat seems serviceable. After having been in early access since June of 2020, we'll see if it's able to deliver on an entertaining, open-world RPG experience. Gedonia comes out of early access on Steam on October 14th. My goodness, 32 games. That's like a lot. In 1 week. That's almost 3 times the releases from last week. I'm gonna go rest my voice, but before I do, I wanna rattle off a couple of changes. First, I now stream exclusively on YouTube and no longer on Twitch. If you wanna catch me live, I'll be around Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. Also, for those wanting to support my work, I have closed down my Patreon and instead started up a Buy Me a Coffee instead. For as little as $3 a month, you can help support these videos and my live streams. I do this as a career, and the transition from Twitch to YouTube is a big one, but it feels like the right move for the content I create. You can find a link to buy me a coffee below. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.